give up. I am a fighter. I'm a fighter. I'm a survivor. Even if I fall, I'll be up again, 'cause I'm a fighter. I am a fighter. I'm a survivor. Never lay down, never give up. I am a fighter. Under attack, skies going black, sirens are sounding, I'm screaming, I'm shouting, I'm breaking the silence at last. This is my life, and I'm coming to take it back. Not over yet, ain't gonna quit, no matter what. Never lay down, never give up. I am a fighter. I'm a fighter. I'm a survivor. Even if I fall, I'll be up again, 'cause I'm a fighter. I am a fighter. I'm a survivor. Never lay down, never give up. I am a fighter. Never lay down, never give up. I am a fighter. I'm a fighter. I'm a survivor. Even if I fall, I'll be up again, 'cause I'm a fighter. I am a fighter. I'm a survivor. Never lay down, never give up. I am a fighter. I am a fighter. Yeah, I'm a fighter. I am a fighter.
You're gonna be a tough act to follow, and you better believe it. Just take a bite and see that it's gonna be too much to swallow. You better believe it. Yeah, I got one more trick, but you're gonna be a tough act to follow, to follow. All the people wanna go with desire, like the streaming with the fish in the ocean. Stay away, never come under fire. They will never ever show an emotion. I never dreamed of getting in the action. Life moves with all the surprises. I never dealt with chemical reaction. It comes down to this step. You're gonna be a tough act to follow, and you better believe it. Just take a bite and see that it's gonna be too much to swallow. You better believe it. Yeah, I got one more trick, but you're gonna be a tough act to follow, to follow. All the people wanna get in the circus, trying hard to keeping up with the Joneses. Everything has got a troubling purpose, and you're lying in a bed of roses. I never dreamed of getting in the act.
we forgot about the headsets. Of course, Patrick pointed it out right before it cut over, and I'm like, oh well. How is everyone doing this Saturday? Well, I hope well. Yeah. Tom, I think Yo's become the secret handshake of Power BI people around the world. Nice.
It is.
How you doing, Patrick?
I'm all right, man. Didn't make myself another cup of coffee, so it's going to be a long hour.
No, you've got no go-go juice. Oh,
it's
no.
It's going to be a long hour.
Yeah. Well, all right.
It's all right.
So, real quick, so Matthias wanted to see the photo. I said I'd show it real quick. So, this was the bear photo that I took in Alaska. I got it kind of fixed up and whatnot from the raw image, but that was a wonderful moment in Alaska. I loved it. It was bananas. So,
it's a nice picture.
Yeah,
Nice photo.
I love it. All right. Yeah, someone else made that comment too, that I need to print it out and get it up on the wall. So it was a moment. So that nice new lens I got, that was bananas. All right. So one other thing I want to announce real quick. Actually, before I do the announcement, let's do this. For all the folks that are new, either to the live stream or Guy in a Cube in general, put hashtag new in the chat. We always love seeing the new folks around. Just to see and say hello and make sure you feel welcomed. So that'll be nice. All right. So one announcement I did want to make is there is a Ask the Experts session coming up on Wednesday for the Azure Synapse influencers that are out there. It's a program that the Azure Synapse team is running. So Patrick and I will be on it this Wednesday. So if you want to check it out, you can go register for it. It's going to be a Teams live event, so not on YouTube. And then
Wait. Whoa. When are we doing this?
Wednesday. Isn't it Wednesday? Is it Tuesday or Wednesday?
I didn't know.
Yes, I told you there's a whole bunch of stuff going on next week. It's in the morning for us. Yeah. So it says in there that you need to be a member of this Azure Synapse Influencer program to take part in it. It's a free program, so I'll put the link for that as well. If you want to learn more about it, that's just something the Azure Synapse product team is running. So be sure to check it out. And if you want to partake with us on Wednesday morning, feel free. It'll be there. No, it's on Patrick's calendar. There's a whole thing where Patrick just doesn't pay attention to it, and then I remind him like the night before, and he's like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. It's a thing. We actually had this conversation like last Wednesday or Thursday or something. Yes. All right. So let's see who the new folks are. So I've got Siddhartha's new. I got Abhishek is new. Play PS is new. Hello to you. Butho is new from Rwanda. Wow. That's cool. So nice. Yeah, Patrick needs those 10 hours before reminders. Huh? He needs more than that.
I like crystals. There's a thing called a calendar, Patrick.
There is, and you know, I manage his calendar apparently. So, yes. Yeah, Tom. Yeah, one of my new shirts, Commodore 64. That was the first computer I started out on. That probably ages me as well. So. Yep. All right. Cool. Chris coming in with a super chat saying happy birthday. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. That was on Thursday. Appreciate it.
Oh,
So,
yeah. You're what, 53 now?
I'm no longer
53?
the answer to the universe. So.
I heard that.
Yeah, but she's on a delay, so I don't know what she was laughing at.
He didn't get it. He just went right past it. He just much older than me.
Crystal. She said, I manage yours, don't be judgy. Whatever. All right. Cool. Well, thank you, Chris. Appreciate it a lot. So cool. All right. So also shout out to the members of Guy in a Cube. You help us do what we do here on the channel. Very much appreciated. Always surprised and just enthralled by all of the support. We love it. If you want to, oh, not that one. Ooh, hang on, not that one. There we go. There we go. So if you want to learn more about being a member, check out the link on the screen, or you can hit the join button down below to learn more. No commitment required. Just a big thank you. If you see the folks with the green name or the Guy in a Cube logo next to their name, those are members of Guy in a Cube. So thank you to all of you. Members, hold your questions until the second half. Chatmaster C will let you know when you can put your questions in. We save that for the back half. All right. And then for questions, please put Q : in front of the question. Chatmaster C is standing by to get those queued up. One time is all you need. Please do not spam your question. If you do, we have a 3 strikes rule here on Guy in a Cube. Either Chatmaster C or one of our lovely moderators, except Patrick, will put you in a timeout. So please don't do that. One time's all you need. We don't get to all of the questions every week. So if we don't get to yours, apologies. Come back next time and we'll try again. All right. Yeah, Crystal laughed. It wasn't at the birthday thing, though. So nice. All right. Patrick, are you ready? Was there anything else we need to call out? I feel like there was something else we had to call out. No, that was it. We got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're good.
All right, let's do it. Matthias coming in with the first question. Can a premium per user workspace subscribe reports with a PDF attachment, several report pages, towards pro users, or will it only accept premium recipients? So Patrick, you found some documentation.
I told you I lost the link. That's why I put it in Teams.
You put it in Teams.
I know.
All right. So Patrick can drop it in the chat. So per the documentation, if you do this as a premium per user, the recipients just have to have a pro or PPU license. So the recipient is not required to have a PPU license. They can have pro and it's okay. They have to have one or the other though. They can't be a free user. So check out the doc and the source of truth. So awesome. Hopefully that gets you going in the right direction, Matthias. All right. I'm on. Last week, Adam showed usage metrics dataset settings. We saw sensitivity label, query caching, server settings. I don't see these. Is it a setting or a difference between direct query and import mode datasets?
Premium per user?
Well,
premium per user.
So hang on.
You won't see server settings.
Yeah. That's a PPU only thing. So the workspace I was in was a premium per user. Yeah, or premium capacity. So those are all premium specific settings. And the workspace I was showing that in was a premium per user workspace. So that's why those were there. So good call out. Good call out. I was trying to think in my own, like, wait, why would I? Yeah. So Patrick nailed it. Good job, Patrick.
Yeah.
You deserve a coffee.
I saw server settings. Yeah. When I saw server settings, I'm like, that's premium. That's premium.
Yeah. Yeah, in the sense, Alex, good call out. So sensitivity labels, those need to be enabled within your tenant also. So there may be some tenant level settings too that could be preventing that. So, and or like, are they configured also? Like you've got to configure the sensitivity labels too.
I thought you did a video on that.
I did.
Did you do a video on that?
I did.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Igor. Incremental refresh on large dimensions. How to do that? Ways and scenarios, maybe.
It's the same. Like you set it up. You need a date, though.
Yeah.
If you take product is a common one. The product dimension for large retailers is a common one. Think about it. Right? They have all the products that they sell at their stores, and trying to keep that updated. I mean, you just have to. You're gonna need a date to do it, and you're gonna have. It's gotta tell you when things change. Go ahead.
Well, a couple things. I'm like, for incremental refresh specifically, yes, you could do custom partitioning on it, if that helps. It depends on like how you would break out that dimension. I don't know.
Yeah.
So one thing though, you say large dimension. How large is large?
Yeah.
Because I've seen some large dimensions, and like yes, absolutely, like it was massive. So yeah, so that's the
But I
question.
think here it's less, because if you think about product, let's just go with product. Any of those products, description or whatever it is, could change on that product, right? So you probably would need to set up incremental refresh across the entire partition, and then use the what's the property on it? Frick, I can't remember the property. You know, where I had to write the special view update changes. Or
Yeah, it's
I forget
the polling expression. No?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so because you might, Chris. So you got 25 million customers, and anything about those customers can change. Any customer can change. So you need to refresh that entire table at any point. But there's a property that you can check on incremental refresh, the box. I forget what the name of that freaking thing is,
Keep it
but you check
updated.
that, and then yeah. But I put a video out there where you refresh the entire table, but it's smart enough to know the dimension the partition that's changing, and it'll only update those partitions. So go look at the incremental refresh. We have a playlist. You should go check it out.
So I do agree with Kevin. It does depend on how large the dimension is, for sure, and there's some other options that you have. Donald commented 100K is a large dimension. I disagree with that. 100K is not large. I would just import that thing and not even bother with incremental refresh on that. Chris mentioned 25 million customers for a large dimension. That's getting up there. I've seen other dimensions that are like 33 million. I've seen there was another one I saw that was bigger than that. So like those are, it's wow, 285 million cardinality on a dimension. Wow. I want to know what that dimension's tracking, and it could be like a slowly changing dimension.
Data changes.
Detect data changes.
Detect data changes. Detect data changes. That's it.
Yep.
It's driving me crazy. It's driving me crazy. Yes. Somebody said it depends. I already put it in there. Sorry, Kevin. It depends. It depends. I already put it in there. Sorry, Kevin.
Yep. Now, 100K, I wouldn't even bother with it. Just import, just refresh it. 100K is going to go quick. But yeah, 25 million, that's where I would start maybe looking at that instead of just refreshing it every time. But then it's just a question of what are you partitioning on?
Yeah, what you partition on, and how wide is that table? And I'm not talking about number of columns. I'm talking about types of columns. So the data types, is it strings, lots of strings and stuff in there. So there's lots to think about. It depends. It's absolutely it depends.
Cool. All right, Vicar. Let's see here. Referring to your video related to date ranges, parameters, and paginated reports. I remember what that video was about.
We did a video?
How can the same be implemented if the paginated report is based on a Power BI data set? What was the date range video? I mean, I gotta believe it's based on parameters, and there's queries that go with the parameters, and
but you're gonna have to. You may have to write your own custom DAX for it, because you want to start and a stop date. You don't just want to say this and that. You want it to be between, right? And so you may have to write your own DAX statement to do it. I did a video a long time ago about using the query builder in DAX Studio. And in there, I showed you how you can add parameters in DAX and test it out. You should go watch that video and take a look. It's just, I'm not committing to do a paginated report video. So I'm just not doing that. I'm just not doing it. Sorry.
But I mean, it's based on creating. So I mean, but the parameters, like what the concept that was done there for the date range, I mean, the concept's the same regardless of what the parameter is that you want to do. And that should work for a Power BI data set too.
Yeah, but I think they want a between though for a Power BI. I think they want, start between this date and that date. It's not like selecting this value, that value. We're saying we're equal to and they want between. I think they want between.
Yeah. But you have a start and end. And then if you can match up the DAX query for the underlying data, you can get that in
yeah,
and
yeah,
use that.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool. So, Bob Eater, you mentioned it. So it depends on your thinking about what quick is. For some people, 5 seconds is slow. Other people, 5 minutes is fine. Not in a Power BI report. I completely argue that point. 5 minutes is not fine for a Power BI report. That is an insane amount of time. And in fact, your visuals are going to start timing out after 225 seconds, which is a little over 3.5 minutes. So it's got to be fast. It's got to be, I always say for perf there, it's got to be sub-second. And for like 100K dimension, if you're refreshing that and that's not sub-seconds, you have other problems. So
100,000 rows.
Yeah, 100,000 rows, that should be,
But
that
it
should
could be a
fast.
really...
If it's
really
super
wide
wide,
table.
yeah, but even still, would it be taking more than a... I'd still look at that.
High cardinality columns, big string columns, so it's got to build dictionaries and attribute hierarchies. It could be slow.
But still expect it to be faster than 5 seconds.
A refresh?
On a 100K table. 100K column table.
Okay.
I don't know. Definitely not 5 minutes. That's bananas.
No, not 5 minutes.
Not 5 minutes. Anyway. All right. Let's see here. Yeah.
Everybody's piling on.
5 minutes is bananas. Even for a Power, I don't care what it is. 5 minutes, anything in Power BI is too long. I mean, on refresh for some of the bigger refreshes, that could take longer, but still 5 minutes is a long time.
He said 5 minutes for the entire data set.
No, that could take a lot longer than 5 minutes. Especially you get bigger models and stuff. That could take, I mean, you've got a 5-hour timeout. Your refresh could be going longer than 5 minutes. All right, Evan, two-parter. We have created a golden data set, one data set to rule them all, to which developers connect and create composite models. All right, cool. But I'm missing something by not utilizing data marts and data flows. Oh, but am I missing something by not using data marts and data flows? Second part, get your dollar ready, Patrick. The data set connects to our data warehouse and multiple SQL servers if that matters. So Evan, it absolutely depends. My question there would be, do you like, if it's already built, I wouldn't go and change it. Like if it's working, like don't spend the time to refactor the thing, unless there's a real need for it. Right. So if there's a need, for those things, then go do it. Where I could see those coming into play, in terms of refactoring, like if you want to like maybe reintegrate and utilize either a data mart or a data flow, would be if you can see some performance wins, like from a refresh perspective, or depending on what you're doing, where that could potentially stage it and make it faster. And so you're offsetting some of the perf of the actual refresh. That could be a potential scenario where that may be helpful for you. But if you're fine with the time that the refresh is taking on that data set and everything's good and there's no complaints, then I wouldn't touch it. Yeah, it works fine now. Yeah. So yeah, it's just one of those things where if it's within your SLA, if it's performing good, you're happy with the time, then don't touch it. It's fine.
If it ain't broke,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you're creating like a new net data set, like just something new, you're starting from scratch. Again, this is where like data flows and data marts can help with potential some consolidation, offsetting some of the items. So we did a whole video on data marts where we talked about some of the advantages of data marts. I would say the same thing kind of applies to data flows from some of those scenarios of like, how do you stage some of that stuff? How do you maybe simplify or do some of the more complex, if you've got to do some transformation stuff and you want to offset it from the data set, you can do it ahead of time. So those are all things you can look at for those. But yeah, absolutely. If it's fine right now, don't touch it. It's not worth it.
Okay. All right. Before we go,
Where are we going?
Chris, before we go to the next question, Chris posted something that I wanted to, he said, dang it.
Said RLS
the data loads fast. No, not Chris Jones. I think it was Chris Jones.
Jones?
Yeah, he said, hey, my AAS recalc takes
I
45
saw
minutes after all the new data is loaded. And what are you doing? Because when the recalc happens, it builds the relationships and calculated columns and measures. What type of calculated columns do you have in your, the calculated columns and calculated tables? What kind of calculated things do you have up in there? What type of relationships? What is it? Oh crap, what did I do? Sorry, Chris, I'm just asking. I saw that and I was like, 45 minutes. So there's something going on in your DAX or in your model at that point. Because if the data's there, then it's got to do all the recalc of all the calculated tables, calculated columns and stuff like that. So you need to take a look at it. Anyway, I didn't mean to call you out. I just saw that and it was like 45 minutes. Oh, that's a lot. So something's taking
hierarchies also. So this is just all of that stuff that could
hierarchies,
potentially.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Yep.
it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right, Jason. All right, we did a video about using the right data flow connector about 7 months ago. Yep. It was said to use the data flow connector versus Power BI data flows, as the latter may go away. Is that still the case? Yeah, it's taking a little bit. So this is about the Power Platform data flows versus the regular data flow connector. So yeah, some of this is, they're still kind of in this flux stage. And I want to say there's some caveats also about using one versus the other. I don't know, Alex, if you're there, I know you're a little more intimately familiar with that than I am. And that's the thing, is like, just use that. Like, if you just create it though, by default, if you say go to get a data flow and you didn't do the other one, I think it defaults to the other connector, not the Power Platform data flow connector, unless that was updated. At the time I did the video, that was the case. And then the suggestion there was go back and maybe update it to the Power Platform data flow connector. So nice. All right. Okay. Yeah, Alex is saying it still defaults to the old one, so good to know. Good to know. It'll change at some point. I just don't know when. So, all right, Simon. Any clever tips or advice for documenting models? Currently, I just use Word, but it is quite laborious. You're laughing, Patrick. So we get this every once in a while.
There are properties on the columns and the tables that you can go and input the information there. Yes, and then so everybody's saying what I'm about to say. Then you can use the DMVs to extract the descriptions, the name of the tables, the name of the columns. You can use a product called Purview to do it that Microsoft has to get the metadata about that model. If you include descriptions on it, it'll pull it in. I think there's a what is the name of that product? I think Reza has a product that actually will pull the information out. Also, I think there's some external tools that'll do it, but you got to start by, instead of using Word, right, put it into the properties of those columns and tables, and then you can query the DMVs and get all that information out.
Yep. So, there were also comments. Evan mentioned the scanner API, so that also aligns to Purview if you're hooking that up.
Kerry said it. Power BI Documenter. That's what it is. That is the tool I was trying to think of.
Yep. So yeah, this comes up every once in a while. So
thank you, Kerry.
And then Alex also put a link in there for Michael Kowalski's item about data dictionary in Excel. Lots of good options out there. Lots of good options out there. So
I wouldn't use Word though. I wouldn't use Word.
Yeah. I mean, if you do feel like if that's your jam and you want to hand type stuff out in a big Word doc and then update that and maintain it, you do you.
Okay.
You do you.
Okay, Adam.
Yeah. All right. Lance coming in with a Lance icon that looks like Excel. I like that. Is there a framework or good way to unit test M during CI/CD pipelines? Alex. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right. We'll come back to you, Alex, in a second. So Lance, framework, good way to unit test M. So there is a way, so there's an extension for VS Code where you can actually run M statements inside of there. The problem is you've got to extract it manually, so you can't do it with inside of Power BI Desktop or Power Query directly. So the VS Code extension, I think, is the best way to go do. That's the only way that I personally know of to try and unit test some M queries. Yeah. Is it Visual Studio? I thought VS Code had something too. That's one of those. I thought there was something in VS Code I could run. I remember that a while back.
I don't know.
But
I know Alex showed it when we were in
Yeah,
bits
yeah,
when
yeah.
doing it, or somewhere
Yeah.
he showed it, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Alex showed
Yep.
it. Yeah.
So yeah, if you have Visual Studio, it's there. Maybe it's just the M syntax stuff in VS Code. Maybe it doesn't do the other piece. I thought it was there, but yeah. All right. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So then Visual Studio, you can do it. It's just you got to do it one by one and have it listed in there outside of the Power BI Desktop. So it's a little cumbersome, but you can do it. So. All right, cool. All right, are you ready for Alex's question?
Yeah.
Thank you for the super chat,
I know
Alex.
the answer to this.
All right.
I know the answer to this.
All right. Are you saying usually you don't know the answer to his questions? Or?
Usually I don't. He live me. He just threw a live up. This
Yeah,
time.
okay,
I
all
got
right.
it. I'm
Patrick,
coming
is
in
there
hot.
a
I'm coming
way
in hot.
I could run the Vertipack Analyzer DMVs against all the data sets in my workspace and have a report output?
Yeah. If you're really good with M and you have access to the XML endpoint, yes. Yes. And if you stay tuned, Alex is going to show you, release something that's going to blow the world away because he showed it to me yesterday. Great job. It's amazing. It's amazing what he wrote. It's amazing what he wrote.
Now, I would say part of that, though, is you have to go kind of like trace and see what those queries are that Vertipack Analyzer is running first. And then once you have
he did
that,
all
then,
this stuff.
Yeah, then
he
you
did.
can go
He did
for
it all. It's amazing. It's amazing what he did. It's absolutely amazing. Coming soon. Stay tuned.
Maybe this would be the one that Alex finally shows up in one of our videos.
And so when he showed it to me, the first thing I said was, "Are we doing a video on this, Alex?" He's like, "Let me finish it." I'm like, "All right, I'll let you finish it, and we're gonna do a video on this." Yeah.
Maybe this is the one. Yeah. Well, and rumor has it that you're both going to be in Orlando in September.
So somebody posted a question. They're like, "Hey, you're supposed to be in Denmark," but I'm like, "Denmark? I don't remember."
That's the
that I
Lego
was going to
thing.
Denmark.
That's the next.
Oh
RBI
yeah, I'm not
next.
doing that. So
Yeah,
sorry.
we're not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not. I have to go to Orlando, and yes, I'm. There is a tweet out there with an image of me. Somebody's using.
Yeah, Alex. I don't know. Like Kim made a tweet that made it sound like it's. I don't know. It's an interesting tweet.
My likeness was used on some marketing slides. So anyway.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Oh, we gotta look at the clock. I'll do my best Patrick impression in Denmark. Don't worry. That's Benny. That I would want to see. I need video on that. That needs to be a video. All right, cool. W Bird. Is there an easy way to implement an export to Excel button for a table? Not Power Automate Flow. Didn't we have this last week? So I did a video. So Alex, I don't know if you want to go find that video again. Sorry, I need to officially implement the Hey Alex command. So I did a video a while back before the Power Automate button came in and before the paginated visual. So paginated visual is something you can use that supports the export. If the paginated report item is there, you've got to go paginated for this. So let me preface it with that. And so you can use the paginated visual, or the video that I did talks about how you can have like an image or a button where you can dynamically build the URL for the paginated report, and then that can do the export as well. The paginated report has to exist, though. Honestly, I would say don't do all that. Just do the paginated visual and leave it at that. And that's what got into all of our whole argument last week about the create table thing.
If you go to the data hub, and I think Thomas just said
we're about to
if you go
do this
into
again.
If you go into the data hub and you click on the data set you want, on the right hand side, the schema of that model, all the tables and columns and stuff will appear, and you can start clicking everything you want and build that table out and say export, and you can export as many rows as you want. Formatted tables, yes, Alex. And in fact, if you watch the video on Wednesday, because I told you guys I was doing a video on this, and I recorded the video, you will see this on Wednesday in the video.
So I'm showing Patrick what you were talking about here. So we could go to internet sales.
Yeah.
I can go to.
Well, you don't want to click the whole table.
What do you mean I don't want to click the whole table?
Selective. You know, just choose a few columns.
I need everything.
Okay. Right.
Well, this is a measure though, so I need to do this in a way that is broken out by. Let's break it out by sales territory or country.
Yeah.
Right. There we go. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. I don't know where my countries are though. Oh, I guess it's at the end. This is just a flat table, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can hit export and export it to Excel. Look at that. That's been it. We should do a video on that.
I already did it. It's coming. Tuesday, Wednesday. It's recorded. It's up there.
Oh, okay.
I already recorded the video.
Is that what that was? I couldn't tell by the description.
You said don't do a video on this.
No, that one, yes, but the whole. Well, from the standpoint of exporting, sure, but not for use with like in a report.
Oh my bejeebus!
You need to be more
Oh my
clear.
gosh.
That's what I'm saying.
More clear. Okay.
Yes.
I need to be clearer. Clearer.
Clearer. All right. So we are at the halfway mark. Chatmaster C has cleared the queue. Members, now is the time to get your questions in. We are going into member-only mode. If you want to learn more about being a member, again, you can check out the join button down below, or I just put a link that I pinned to the message or to the chat, so you can go learn more about doing that. One of the benefits of being a member is that we do these member-only sections on the second half of the streams, where only members and moderators can participate in the chat. Everyone else can still watch the stream and enjoy all the knowledge, but if you want to participate in the chat, need to be a member or a moderator. If we didn't get to your question, I apologize. Come back next time, or super chats always take priority, and we'll get through even in the member only section if you are not a member. Just remember, if you're doing a super chat, make sure you put the question into the super chat itself. So, all right, with that, let's get over to member only section. Bam, there we go. Oh, I guess I should cut back to our lovely faces. Why didn't you say something?
Yeah.
I did a whole
dancing,
spiel.
So I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy because I was dancing and nobody saw me dancing, so I'm okay with that.
Yes, but I have it recorded to other streams, so I can always extract it and do it as a YouTube short. So it's fine. That and the I need to do a short about the I've still got that Mary Had a Little Lamb clip.
Oh, yeah.
All right. One of the benefits of being a member also is pre-submitting questions, and we do have one this way. So if you're at the visitor or producer tier, you can pre-submit the question, and we will take a little extra time and try and do some stuff. So our pre-submitted question this time comes from Tom. So I have a model with a fact table that has 5 years of data in it. I'd like to implement incremental refresh and just refresh the last year. I'm using Azure SQL Database, and I have a stored procedure as I need to pass a parameter for a specific customer. Configure the refresh, but view native query is grayed out. Doesn't that mean that incremental refresh won't work? And if that's correct, is there any way around it? What am I missing? All right. So we're going to break this down a little bit. There's a couple things with this. First off, you said that you're using a store procedure. In the email that Tom sent me, he added a little more detail saying that all he's doing in the store procedure is just putting a where clause on there. So my thing there is, why are we doing a store procedure? Like, don't do a store procedure for that. So one thing, let's go back over to my machine. Let's go here. Let's go transform data. Came up on the other monitor. And so in your fact table, if let's say that you're, let's get a good item that we want to filter on. And let's just say we're filtering on date, I guess, our customer key, right? You can just filter here, like add a filter. You can have a Power Query parameter and then filter by the parameter, right? So if we do equals and then we have the parameter there, I can actually set that to a parameter and filter it there from a Power Query perspective and not have to use a stored procedure, right? So, and then this should fold down. For Azure SQL Database, that should fold down unless we're doing something funky. So that's the first thing. Don't use a stored procedure if you're just doing a simple where clause. Just create the parameter and then filter by that parameter inside of Power BI or inside of Power Query. The other thing here, though, is that when we right click and we go to view native query, that's not necessarily a guarantee that you're not folding. So you could be folding. This can be a false positive potentially. So you got to be careful with that. The only true way to tell is you got to do like a database trace on it. So like SQL profiler trace or something like that to see what the query is that's actually going back to the database. That's the only way you're really going to know. I remember I was talking to Chris Webb about this, and I'm like, well, like, couldn't you use like the Power Query diagnostics? He's like, no, that doesn't necessarily tell you the thing. So Alex is saying the logs also. Do we actually say whether it folded in the log? So I know the you can optionally omit the queries in the logs for the gateway. Would the Power Query logs have that as well? Maybe. I haven't looked in a long time. But Alex is saying trust the logs also. So that, all right. I don't trust Azure Diagnostic or the Power Query diagnostics though. Chris said that could be not correct. So so the logs were, if the query's in the logs, go to that, or you can trace the data source itself. That'll tell you if it folded back. But just because the view native query is grayed out, that's not a true indicator. If it is enabled, then yes, we're folding. But if it's not, maybe we are. So you got to verify that. So just be aware of that. Hopefully that helps you, Tom. But yeah, don't use the store procedure. It complicates things. Patrick and I were talking. He's still working with Chris Webb. Apparently, there is a way you could do store procedures with incremental refresh, but it's complicated, and I wouldn't do that in this case for a simple just where predicate. Just filter it in Power Query. Your life will be easier. You'll thank us later. Anything to add to that, Patrick? I know you were not even listening because you were typing away. And
I saw a question that's interesting, and I think I got something to show. Yeah. So Tom, if it's he said, hang on, let me go back to my machine because you said that it's configured to use native query. So there is a way when you go to the source when you're doing native query. Let me see if I can do this here. Test equals native value native query. There's an option. I gotta look it up. There's an option though that for certain data sources you can enable to fold even if you're using native query. It's not enabled by default. I've got to look it up though. I don't know it off the top of my head. Enable folding. Enable folding equals true.
Yeah, where do
I did a
put
video
that?
on it. There's a video. Oh, I don't know. There's a
video.
video.
I don't remember the exact syntax for it.
But you got to wrap it. It's a different thing. It's like value.native query or something like. Oh yeah, there you go. There you go, Alex. Value.native query.
There you go. Okay. Yeah. So in there. Yeah.
Look at me, Alex. Look at me. Remembering some Power Query stuff. Look at me.
Yeah. So if you do source and then the query,
there it goes.
And then enable.
He's like, Alex, like I literally dropped it in. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So basically, this only works for certain data sources. SQL is one of Azure SQL Database is one that supports this. But the other thing too, so I would also say the reason you're doing native query is because you have a store procedure. So you shouldn't need to use native query. Like, don't use native query. Just pull in the table and then add the where predicate. So rewrite the whole thing to avoid the native query.
If you want If you want to use something like that, though, if you do a table value function, it'll show up in the list, and you can parameterize a table value function. So you could try that. I don't know why you'd want to do anything like that, but
Don't do
Adam's
that.
way.
Don't do
you
that.
You can see
Don't
the
do
look on
that.
his face.
Don't do
but,
that. Don't do that.
Yeah. Okay,
But yeah, so in order to call store procedures, you have to use native query. So that's why you're using native query, and by default, that blocks folding. So, oh my gosh. Yes. Well, in this case, it's just a simple where, so you don't even need a view. Like, you don't even need a view. You're just getting the base table, and you want to filter by, like, customer. Like,
yeah.
just add it as a filter. Create the parameter, add it as a filter on the base query, and boom, you're done. No muss, no fuss.
No muss, no fuss.
So, oh, Thomas, no, that's overcomplicating this. No, why do we have to overcomplicate this? It's easy, it's simple. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Keep it clean. Go forth.
Okay, let's go to the next.
All
Let's
right.
go to the next one.
All right, move into the queue. Let's see here. All right, Alex. Is there a good way to show ragged hierarchies in Power BI? I think he already knew the answer to this.
He knows. He knows. He knows the answer to
Last
this.
I checked, it still ignored the model.bim property designed to handle this. Yes, it's not. That property is not exposed from a Power BI perspective. So
It works in Excel. If you open up Tablet Editor, you can change that property. But it works in Excel. It does not work in Power BI. It just doesn't. But he knew that. He knew the answer.
no, I know. He was saying if we knew. I'm not aware of
Nope.
when that'll come or if that'll come or ideas.powerbi.com.
He's crying. He's crying.
I know. I'm so sorry.
crying.
I'm so sorry. It's like Kerberos. It just works.
No.
That was for the last one.
Yeah, okay.
So, yes. Hey, Laura. Laura just made it. No worries. Laura, you're in good company. Patrick gets distracted all the time. It's all good. It's all good. Squirrel.
Yeah.
All right. Tom. I'm facing a Power BI report that connects to Analysis Services Tabular on premises. All right. The report contains 200 report measures. Is there a way to extract these measures into a text file? Yeah.
Go to my machine.
Oh, okay.
Go to my machine.
This is the one that interested you?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
So now this does require Tabula Editor 3. Okay. And so if you have Tabula Editor 3, you get connected to your model, whether it's a local PBIX file, it's analysis services, it's premium per user, whatever it is. So it's analysis services. So you put the server name right there. Right, you put the server name. You know what's really cool about this Zoom It? Thank you, Adam, for telling me about it. You can go Blackboard, you can go Whiteboard, you can do so much stuff. Anyway, so once you get connected to it, you just select all your tables. So I click this table, hold down, Shift, select all of them. You see how I did that, right? So I select all the tables,
but yeah.
and then, right, what I do is, so I'll do this, then I'll do that, and then I right click and say Script DAX, right? I script DAX, and once I script DAX, there's all, and I put two measures in my calculated table there, just so you can see, but you can see now I've scripted all my DAX. You can open up whatever notepad tool you like, paste it and save it, or you can save this as a DAX script. And now
So
you have all your.
what if I don't have
measures.
Tabular Editor 3?
Well, so you can, I think the DMVs expose this.
I know the answer to
you can
this,
write-
yes. Because
You
you'd
can
have to do
write some
scripting
queries.
option. You'd have to write a script
Yeah.
inside of Tabular Editor 2 using like C#
Yeah.
that iterates, or go to the DMV and extract the DAX there.
Yeah. And you can use VS Code. You can write a little console app to loop through it and do stuff like that. So there's some options there.
Yeah, so Kevin brings up a good point. Like if you have report level measures that are in the report, they're not in the model, you're out of luck.
Yeah,
You're out of luck.
Report level measures.
Yeah.
That's a whole.
It's only going to
different-
be able to do
different
this over the
story.
model itself. So if it's in the
Yeah.
report itself, I mean, you'd have to get, if you could extract or download the report, hopefully that's still enabled. If it's not enabled, there's no luck.
Wait.
But then you could
So-
crack the PBIX and then like go and copy and paste them out, but that's tedious as heck.
You can do this, and somebody just who said this? Somebody just said that Thomas.
Studio.
You can do it in DAX Studio also. You can right click and do it in DAX Studio. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But it's you.
Yeah, but I think you
multi-select.
can't do it all. Yeah, it's still it's a little more
Yeah.
tedious in DAX Studio.
Let's see.
Yeah, so Kevin, that depends on in terms of extracting the PBI. It depends if that's even enabled though, because there's a bunch of things that'll block that, and then you're out of luck. So now, so Tom, the PBI tools though, I think he's talking about if you have report level measures, because it'll extract the JSON for the report, and then you got to manually copy and paste it out. But if you're talking about the model, if you want to go after the model, the tabular editor route is going to be the easier way to do it.
Yeah. I like what
Yeah.
what Chris says. Oh, report measures.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. All right, cool.
No, that's funny.
Thomas. Yeah, so DAX Studio allows you to extract the dependencies, but that's if you're doing specific things in DAX Studio. But if you do the tabular editor route, it's going to grab everything. So
It just gets small.
so you'll have it all. So
Yeah.
cool, nice. That was a good question. Thank you, Tom. All right, Fernando. Is there any way to get more details when a dataset refresh fails? The long error message string is not useful to troubleshoot. Data flows are more descriptive when they fail to refresh. All you've got when a dataset refresh fails, all you've got is basically what's in the description. That's it. Sometimes you'll get an error message that's at least somewhat helpful. A lot of times I've seen though where you just get there's like an activity ID and it says, hey, like it's something that's not very descriptive and doesn't really point you in the right way. And unfortunately, the only way you're going to get more information potentially is if it's going through a gateway and the issue happened at the gateway. So actually, I take this back. So Patrick, this is going to be an it depends. So it could be a gateway. If it's at the gateway level, you could get some logs in at that level. The other thing you could do is if it's easily reproducible. So if this is like every intermittent thing that happens once every month, this is not going to be a good option. This is where the it depends comes in. But if it does every time fail, I would slap profiler trace on it if it's premium on the XML endpoint and trace it and see what happens during the refresh. And that may help you figure out like where it's actually dying or may give you a more descriptive issue or error as part of it if it's part of the model refresh itself. So there could be things outside of that are happening and you wouldn't get that in the profiler trace, but that combined with a gateway may give it's yeah, you got to dig through that though and see what that gives you. So cool. Nice. All right. Were you going to say something, Patrick?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. Gabriel, this is a Patrick question for sure. How to authenticate to a REST API with basic authentication? I try to use authentication header, but it doesn't work. So yeah, Patrick, what do you think? Not a Patrick question.
Yeah.
So first off, you have to authenticate to the REST API using your Azure AD token, right? So it's using OAuth flat. So if you're not using, let me back up a second. If you're going to the Power BI REST APIs, it's OAuth. So for the REST API in question that you're calling, if it's truly just a username and password, we'd have to know.
Which REST API is it? You gotta know
Well,
which
my
one
guess is
that's
it's
trying
not
to
a
call,
Power
right?
BI. My guess is it's not a Power BI REST API. It's some other random REST API. So I'd have to look at the way of. You'd have to do it in advanced Power Query, and it's going to be in the headers section. I'd have to. What I would trace is if you have something that can easily reproduce it, like Postman or something, where you can do that. Trace it with a fiddler and see what's in the headers, and then you can repump that into from a Power Query perspective. The other thing I'm going to say on this though, please, do not stick the password in Power Query like in plain text. Like that's a horrible idea. That's not secure. You're just asking for trouble. Like it's just please don't do that.
Come on, why not?
So what? Yeah. So anyway, what I would do if it were me, what I would do is go to something like Postman or something where I can reproduce it in like from a browser extension and have the authentication in there, and then it actually issuing the HTTP requests, and then use Fiddler to see what the request response is, and then get the headers and all of that. That's me. That's what I would do.
If it was me, I'm saying what Kevin said, what I said a long time ago. What does it support? What does this API support? Does it support
I know.
Basic authentication? Right?
Yeah. Well, assuming it does, though, that's what I would look at. But but yes.
Okay.
And I love Alex's comment too. Wouldn't it be easier to just do something like Power Automate? Drop it into the source. There you go. I love that. Nice. So yeah. But yeah, there are ways to, if it does support basic auth though, you should be able to do it. You just got to figure out what the header is. But don't put the password just in there. That's a horrible idea. So that's where like Power Automate would be a better option, or something else, like maybe even ADF or something that's going to pump that for you. So, okay. Moving on. That got me,
I know.
going for a second.
I see. Yeah, I see.
Bear Anders, our newest member. Have you taken down the video of you guys, Daniel and Marco, talking about new Tabular Editor 3 features? Did we do that?
I think that was on Reed's. I think Reed did that with Marco and Alberto. I did a video. I did a video on it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for what? Bless.
I was sneezing.
Bless you.
They said
okay.
bless you.
Yeah. I will look. So I did go. There was a moment where I went through and I kind of made them not listed, like a bunch of the older live streams. Let me see real quick.
He says it was a SQL BI. Somebody said it was a SQL BI video, but
yeah. No, there it is.
It was
there
a video out there.
It's unlisted. Hang on. It's unlisted. Just for you, Bear Anders. I'm gonna make it public again, so you should see it now. Go look. It's there. Good to go. Good deal. Just for you. Done. It's back. Okay, cool. William. So of note, this is the last question in the stream in the queue. We may get the queue done. So if you do have a question, get it in. Sorry for the knob question, but what's the difference between DAX at the model versus the report level? The noob, knob.
I think it's a noob.
Normally, noob is spelled differently, so not knob. Noob question. All right, cool. So yeah, what's the difference between DAX at the model versus the report level? Patrick, go.
Head over to my machine. Let me show you something.
All right.
Let me show you something. So when you create your model and you deploy it out to Power BI desktop, and I live connect, right? So I'm live connected to my data set. You can see down here at the bottom. I live connect to that data set. All the measures that exist in that model when it was initially created and published, those are the model level, right? Those are the model level measures. Now, both measures that are created in the model and measures that are created at the report level are written in DAX, right? And so these exist in the model. But if I go and if I like use Tablet Editor or SSMS or some tool to connect to this model, I'll see these measures. But what I can also do is once I'm live connected to the model like I am right now, I can right click and say new measure. That's a measure that's created at the report level. So now I'm creating a measure that if other people connected to this model, or if I connected to this model using some other tool, I would not see Patrick's measure. So if I opened up, Management Studio or something like that, and live connected to it, I wouldn't see this measure in that model. So one measure lives at the report level, and it's your measure, and you're the only person seeing that measure. The ones that's created at the model level, everybody can see those. And so there's a video somewhere where I talk about report level measures. It's probably, I don't know if Adam's unlisted it, but there's definitely a video long time ago that we did. All right, there you go, Adam.
I don't remember what the video was.
Yeah, okay. All right, neither do I, but...
So apparently knob was the correct thing, but Benny's telling me that's a Brit versus US English confusion, and I don't get it. It wasn't noob, it wasn't...
Okay.
Yeah, so he had the two spellings right there for noob, but I don't get the whole... I'll have to ask Chris about that, or Benny, later. So, yeah, nice. All right. So, yeah, we've got, we cleared the queue. Oh my gosh. We need like a whole cheer like animation. It's been a while. So,
good point, Chris. Good point. You're right, Chris. Anyone that, well, and it's not that you're the only person that sees the report level measures. Anyone that has access to...
It's only in context of the report.
Yeah. And so if you have access to that report in a workspace, you can go in edit mode, or you can download the PBIX file, right? You'll see those measures in there. Yeah, you're right. Good point.
I love everyone's given the definition of knob in the context. Because I mean, you say knob, and I think like a door handle. Like that's
that's what I thought.
You learn something every day. You learn something every day.
Like maybe they meant noob.
It's not personal. Yeah, all right. It's all good.
It's all good. Here's a question.
Yeah, Alex got one. I gotta wait for it to show up in my thing.
Oh, we got two.
Oh, we got two. Oh, look at this. Wait, we got a several. All right, cool. Yeah, look at them. All the lurkers. All right, Alex. If you are going up partition a dimension arbitrarily, how big would you want the partitions to be? Is the guidance the same as fact tables around segment size? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's all the same.
Yeah. You want to keep them balanced. Want to keep them balanced.
All the same. Don't veer away from that.
Now the challenges with dimensions though is that sometimes they're going to be smaller. So that's where you get into some oddness with dimensions opposed to the fact table. So
only if these are large dimensions, So I wouldn't bother partitioning.
Yeah. All right, Alan coming in. Alan, do you have a video on when to use data marts versus when to use data flows? Yes. Hey, Alex, can you go drop the link to that video if you're still around? So we did a video on data marts, and then the video the next week after that was data marts versus data flows. And I will say that is a heavy it depends.
That's four.
Oh my gosh.
Kevin, I think that's 4, Kevin.
Oh, William. Did you see William? So, Adam, how smart is a doorknob? That's the way I've always used the phrase. I've never heard that in a phrase before. I've never heard knob used in that context. I've only ever heard knob used in the context of a doorknob. So
I thought there was a question about query folding.
There is.
Thomas.
There is.
Oh, okay.
There is. Yeah, sorry. All right, Thomas. I went to Williams because it made me laugh.
Yeah.
All right, Thomas. When does query folding become an issue? When it doesn't work.
When it's not. That's it.
Yes.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
When it's not. That's great.
It doesn't work. I didn't even think about that one. I'm like, oh, damn. So I will. Yeah. When it doesn't work. Yeah. So.
Well, because if it's not folding, right, your refreshes could slow down, and there could be other issues. So,
Well, the way I read Thomas's question though is like if query folding's actually taken place, where is a point where that could become troublesome? And so I think that question's flawed a little bit because it's not an issue with folding per se. Like folding should always, it's either working or it's not working, right? So, and if it's working, that's a good thing. If it's not working, that's a bad thing. Now, where I would pivot that question is if you have, like, at what point the way I would have asked this question is at what point do I have too many transformations?
So he added a little, or where I need to address it, or where I need to address it.
That's a whole different. In terms of if it's not folding and you need to figure out where to go address it, I mean that's where you've got to start looking at where did it break. Like Alex kind of hinted at that, is you need to figure out where folding stopped. And Patrick, I don't know, did you do a video on that? I remember we've done it in certain times. I don't remember.
Yeah, you don't remember the Meckham, man? You don't remember the Meckham?
No, there was the Meckham, but there was something after that where we actually talked about like looking, like breaking down and like trying like the individual steps and seeing like where it is and where it's not. So Oh,
and so if you look,
go ahead.
But Alex, so Alex, I was looking for it, and he found it before me. Of course, he found it before me. I knew he had written a blog on the Power Query thing on introduction. Yeah, I knew I couldn't find it, but I was going to try to beat him. But of course, he beat me to it.
Very new.
Yeah, go and read this blog post.
Well, but does that talk about in there? Does it talk about how to diagnose where it's broke? Like how to fix it?
Right here. Best practices for working with pop. Well,
but like
okay, Alex. I thought you did, but I'm wrong. Okay.
Yeah. So it's
okay.
Yeah. So I mean, you got to figure out where it broke, and then maybe switch it up. So I had a scenario where I was working with a customer, and they were saying they had something that broke folding, and then they did a filter to reduce the section on it. And I'm like, well, flip it. Do the filter thing first, because we know that folds, and then do the item that's going to break folding. Do that very last, or as close to the end as possible, to make sure that you're not breaking the rest of it.
He talks about it. Efficient, ensure folding queries. He has a section on it for efficient data processing.
Yeah,
it's
partial folding. Okay.
I stopped scrolling.
Cool. Yeah. Can we get a link in the chat for that blog? Or no.
He already put
All
it
right,
there.
Alex already put it in there.
Yeah, he already put it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was trying to find it, but he beat me to it. He beat me to it.
All right. So we are over time, but Brock came in with a super chat, so we're gonna grab that.
Let's go for it.
All right,
let's go for
Brock,
it.
this is the last question. There's these new white arrows that show up when hovering over buttons in Power BI service that weren't there before. What?
Oh, I'm going to look.
Yeah, I'm going to look too. What are we talking about? White arrows that show up. Can you? No, not that. Like where? Anywhere in the service, or where?
On buttons?
Buttons.
He said on buttons, didn't he?
Hang on. Is it on buttons specifically, or?
That's what he says.
Oh, Alex said that's been discussed on Twitter, and a bug fix is being rolled out. Potentially. I don't think I have button. Do I not have button? Oh, I do have button.
I did. Remember I did that video.
These are buttons.
And I cannot find it.
I don't know where. Do I have another video or another item with buttons?
I got one right here. I got one with buttons. That when I did the video. There's no lines. I don't see the lines. I'm hovering over buttons right now. These are buttons, right?
You said a white arrow. New white arrows that show up.
I don't see any new white arrows. See? Click.
Click your link. Okay, hang on. I got you, Alex. No momento. Yeah. Go. What we got?
Oh,
what we got?
look.
Since when is this new? Oh. Well, so we're not seeing that though. So maybe they already fixed it. I don't know, Brock. Are you still seeing it? Because we're not seeing it on Patrick's. Oh.
I'll go look at it.
Also, we're showing Patrick's machine, not mine. So, thankfully. All right. Cool. So we're not seeing it on ours. So maybe it's fixed already. I don't know. Maybe re-verify. Yep. Cool. Nice. Look at that. Just fixing stuff on stream. There we go. All right. We made it to the end of the stream. Another Saturday in the books. Yeah, the thread says it's fixed. Awesome. Oh, and then Brock coming in with another super chat, just saying thanks for going over. Nice. Yeah, I think the fix is already in place because I'm seeing it. We're not seeing the arrows on our tenant. So, and I will say, like, our tenant if you're in the U.S., our tenant is usually, I think we're in West U.S., and that's usually the last tenant to get fixes deployed in the train of data centers. North Central in the U.S. is usually the first one because it's a canary cluster. So if you're in North Central, you get a lot of stuff first. Yay! And then I usually get it last in a deployment. So anyway, so you're most welcome, Brock. Glad we got it answered for you. All right, everyone. Patrick, any words of wisdom before we close it out?
No. I got nothing.
So, all right, just remember Wednesday, that Azure Synapse Influencers, if you want to come hang out with us again Wednesday morning, U.S. time, there you go. That's an option for you. It's free, so there's no cost or anything. You just have to sign up as an Azure influencer or a Synapse influencer. And then, yeah. Alex saying West Central is the worst region. I don't know about that. So, all right. So have a great rest of your weekend, everyone. Have a great week ahead of you, and we will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. See you, everyone.
Every time the push comes too sharp, I'm climbing over you to reach the top. 'Cause I want everything and nothing at all. Yeah, I want everything and nothing at all. 'Cause I want everything and